Welcome back to Perdido Key Gaming. Today we've got some more role-playing stuff. This one is from, let's see, Games Workshop. Yeah, back in the day. Well, at least the original one was. The original one, this one's Black Industries, Warhammer Fantasy Role-Playing. The original one, it came out in the 80s, was, pretty thick. It was based on the whole Warhammer, the fantasy, the miniatures board game, which was always fun to watch, but I, never really got into it. But since, it's a role-playing game, I was into that. A Grim World, a Perilous Adventure. Yeah, definitely Germanic themed. It's, Games Workshop was in the UK. They were the ones with Talisman, which I'll have something coming up about Talisman sooner or later. But definitely a Germanic theme. You had the dwarves, the humans, the elves, and they're all factionalized and things like that. And they got a lot of background material in this particular book. In the original one, they had a bunch of background. I don't have that one anymore. I'm not sure where I lost it. I have my suspicions, but anyway. But you create a character, you create your race, generate characteristics, record your racial features, determine your personal details, and then you roll for your career. It's not a class or a profession, it's your career. So you record the details of your career and take one free advance, which is their way of leveling up. Then you start playing. You got 4 races: dwarves, elves, humans, and halflings. Of course, there's other nasty beastie types. The orcs are in there, Skaven, things like that. Trolls, of course. But yeah, you record your profile. You record your starting points, your starting wounds, your starting fate, your features. You can have random talents like being ambidextrous and things like that. And of course, it's not necessarily, you got your weapon skills, both melee and range, strength, toughness, agility, intelligence, willpower, and fellowship, which is, I guess, their version of charisma. And then you got stuff that, generates off of that. And then you start your career. There's a whole, there's numerous careers, and there was always some being added because it's, if you look at it, it's kind of simple to add a class. I mean, it was simple to add a class in Rollmaster and simple to add a class in D&D, but yeah, it varies from agitators, bailiffs, and grave robbers, hunters, warriors, vagabonds, soldiers, room bearers, rat catchers, pit fighters, and just plain old peasant, but that's what it was. You bring your, you could have, just a simple party of rat catchers, peasants, and militiamen, and some charcoal burner guy hanging around, and that's what you ran on. So I played this a couple of times. It was always fun. Kind of you're trying to min-max your character so that you can advance your career. And once you got to a certain point in your career, you could trade off and things like that. So it's a lot kind of fun. But your careers, that's your careers. The careers take up most of the book, it feels like. But when you look at it, so let's take the apprentice wizard. The careers entries could be have been a student, scribe, scholar, or a hedge wizard. So you come in from being a student or a scholar or something like that, become apprentice wizard, You gain skills if you don't have them already. You gain talents if you don't have them already. You have to, if you come into this profession, you have to have the trappings, the equipment that an apprentice wizard has. So you'd have to buy all that stuff, you know. You have to buy your books to get into college, right? Or what used to be buying books. And you know, and then once you reach a certain level, you have exits. So you could become a journeyman wizard, or you could go back to being a scholar or a scribe. So obviously, you're min-maxing as a student to become an apprentice wizard, to become a journeyman wizard. Journeyman wizard becomes a different kind of spellcaster. So let's see if I can find the journeyman wizard here. Oh yeah, journeyman wizard is an advanced class, so you can't, you know, once you get there, it's an advanced career. So there's no way that you're going to start out as a journeyman wizard. So that makes kind of sense, right? But yeah, it tells you, you know, this is the way you level up. You know, when you get an advance from adventuring and things like that, you plus up your weapon skill plus 5%. Then you plus it up again, so it's a total of plus 10%. Same with wounds and things like that. You know, you're going up in levels and you're hitting the right things, and once you're done, you cross over and become, like I said, journeyman wizard. So these are the advanced careers. So once you get to certain levels as a warrior, you can become a captain, a duelist, a herald, and you know, your journeyman wizard. So the journeyman wizard, his entrances are only apprentice wizard. So, but you can exit, become a scholar again, back to regular things, or a charlatan if you want to become, you know, a guy selling fake potions or something, or become the master wizard. And so there's a whole bunch of different things you can do, you know, because if you're a wizard and you drop back down to scholar, then there's other entries that you can go into. There's other things that you can become instead of just a wizard. So, and of course, once you know, one of your exits here is wizard lord. So that's the penultimate of being a spellcaster and things like that, right? So, you know, kind of an interesting way of leveling up and making things interesting. You got your skills, you know, you're gaining skills, you're, yeah, in order to advance, you got to get 100 experience points, so that's, but yeah, that's, and then skills, talents, equipment, of course, you know, it gives a bunch of stuff about how to, you know, you know, forge weapons and things like that, the effects of alcohol, all sorts of interesting little things to run a campaign. Pretty dense text, if you ask me. It goes pretty fast. Combat, you know, you take an action, and the action is carried out depending on your skills and things like that. Yeah, it's kind of it about characters and making attack. You know, you got a whole thing on making attacks. Got hit locations. You got to roll percentage dice for the attacks. There's dodges and parries and 2-weapon fighting. Let's see what else. Critical hits. Got to have your critical hits. Critical hits in the head. Not as impressive as Rollmaster's critical hits, but still, you know. Various diseases, how to do aerial combat, you know, the colors of magic. There's orders of magic associated with a color, and let's see. That's one of the problems with magic, though, in Warhammer, is that you get curses and things like that. Magic is bad, bad, bad. When you cast magic, there's a possibility of being cursed and things like that. And you know, magic's divided up into various types: petty magic, arcane lores, lesser magic, And of course, once you get into the arcane stuff, that's more powerful stuff. Dark lores, you know, necromancy, chaos, divine lores for the priests and things like that. They're all based around a god. So there's really, you know, very few spells. But I mean, for the most part, you know, it's the basic stuff, and who's to stop you from making your own sort of spells? So, very detailed on some of the campaign stuff, because it's kind of supposed to be set in a certain world, the Empire. So, you know, it's kind of sort of like Greyhawk combined with D&D. You know, there's only one games land here. Doesn't stop you, again, doesn't stop you from using the system in your own campaign. Lots of interesting reading anyway. The book is obviously very fun to read, besides trying to figure out which character, what's the optimal way of getting around the career progression schemes. Lots of stuff, some common creatures, you know, not much, of course, but again, you know, there's out on the web, there's probably plenty of stuff to go ahead and flesh out your campaign for you. And they got a, you know, a little adventure for you here. So anyway, that's it for Warhammer ham sandwich. Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Like I said, I'm not sure. This is the 2004 edition, published back in 2005, but been around since the 1980s, definitely. You know, and of course the miniatures game has been around forever, and of course now they have video games based on it. So anyway, that's it for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Please hit like and subscribe and leave me a comment if you've had experience playing Warhammer, and we'll catch you on the flip side.